Hello, future engineers, subscribers, viewers, and students. Here is the solution to the 10 sample problems under Algebra 1. So, for the first problem, how many 3-digit numbers are not divisible by 3? So, if it is a 3-digit number, it should be between 100 and 999. And the smallest 3-digit number that is divisible by 3 is 102, and the highest 3-digit number divisible by 3 is 999. I hope that you get that point or idea. So the number of 3-digit number not divisible by 3 is denoted by ND3. So it should be equal to the number of, so it is between 102 and 999, which are divisible by 3. So it should be including 100. So 100 to 999 is 999 minus 100 plus 1. That's the total number of numbers. 999 minus 100, the 3-digit number, plus 1. This is the total number of 3-digit numbers. 999 minus 100 plus 1. That's the total number of 3-digit numbers. Then we subtract n, where n is the number of 3-digit numbers divisible by 3. So the total number of 3-digit numbers not divisible by 3 would be equal to 900 minus n. So we begin with the last term, which is 999 divisible by 3. The first term should be 102, and the common difference should be 3. So n is the 3-digit number divisible by 3. The first term is 102, because 102 is divisible by 3. The last term is 999, which is divisible by 3. The common difference D is 3. And the formula relating the last term and the first term, including the common difference, is last term an equals first term plus quantity n minus 1 times d. So substituting into this formula, an 999, a sub 1 102, and d 3, and solving this equation, we get n equals 300. So therefore, the number of 3-digit numbers not divisible by 3 is 900 minus 300, and that is 600. So the answer is 600. For example 2, a contractor who does not meet the deadline on the construction of a building is fined 40,000 pesos per day for each of the first 10 days of extra time. And for each additional day thereafter, the fine is increased by 8,000 pesos. If the contractor is fined 1,008,000 pesos, by how many extra days was the construction delayed? So there are two types of penalties here. One is fixed per day, which is 40,000, and thereafter the fine is increased per day beyond 10 days. So the 11th day should be 48,000, the 12th day, 48 plus 8, 56,000, and so on and so forth. So therefore, for our solution, we call TDD as the total number of days delayed. So TDD is the total number of days delayed. And for the situation for the first 10 days, where the fine is 40,000 pesos, it is already delayed. The construction project is already delayed by 10. Therefore, the total number of days delayed would be 10 plus n, where n is the number of days beyond 10 days where the fine is increased 8,000 pesos per day. So n number of delayed days where the fine is increasing per day, we call that we call n, define n as that. Then the first term for that situation is 48,000, 40,000 plus 8,000. Then the common difference is positive 8,000 pesos. And therefore, the sum of these penalties beyond 10 days is equal to total fine, which is 1,008,000, less the total fine when the penalty is constant at 40,000 pesos per day. So that would be 1,008,000 minus 10 days times 40,000 pesos per day penalty. Therefore, the sum is 608,000 pesos. This is for the case where the penalty is increasing by 8,000 pesos per day. So remember the formula for the sum. There were two formulas, but let's use the common formula, n over 2 quantity 2 times a sub 1 plus quantity n minus 1 times the common difference, where n is this n here. Sum is 608,000. The common difference is 8,000. And the first term is 48,000. So only n is unknown. So substitute 608,000 equals n over 2 times quantity 2 times 48,000 plus quantity n minus 1 times 8,000. So using your high-tech calculator, solving for n is equal to 8. So therefore, the total number of days the construction is delayed is equal to 10 plus 8, and that is 18. So for the next problem, example 3, find the sum of a sequence of 4 positive numbers, the first of which is 6 and the fourth of which is 16. If the first 3 numbers form an arithmetic progression and the last 3 numbers form a geometric progression. So we arrange the number as 6, the next one as x, third as y, and the fourth as 16, or the last as 16. And take note that these numbers arranged in this manner, as stated in the problem, form the first 3, 6, x, and y form an arithmetic progression, and the last 3 numbers, x, y, and 16, form a geometric progression. So for the first 3 numbers in arithmetic progression, we have by the way, the sum is equal to 6 plus 16 because we are looking for the sum. So 6 plus 16, 22 plus x plus y. That's our guide formula. And So we have second x minus 6 is equal to y minus x from arithmetic progression, property of arithmetic progression. So x minus 6 is equal to third minus second. Simplifying, so y is equal to 2x minus 6. Y equals 2x minus 6. Likewise, because the last three numbers form a geometric progression, remember the property x, y, 16, the middle term square is equal to the product of the first and the third. So that is y square equals x times 16, or y square equals 16x. Substitute the value of y, which is 2x minus 6. Quantity 2x minus 6 square equals 16x. Simplifying, expanding, we have 4x square minus 24x plus 36 minus 16x equals 0. Combining like terms, so 4x square minus 40x minus plus 36 equals 0. Divide or solve for x. Divide by 4 first, then solve for x. Then x will have the following roots, 9 and 1. But x is 1 is rejected because the numbers are positive numbers, and when x is 1, this third term y would be negative 4. So that's why we reject it. So we only accept y x equals 9. Then y is 2 times 9 minus 16, and that is equal to 12. And so we have x 9, y 12 into this equation here. S therefore is 22 plus 9 plus 12. And that is equal to 43. So the sum is 42. We proceed to example 4. If the first, fifth, and the eighth terms of an arithmetic progression will form a geometric progression, what would be the common ratio of this geometric progression? So we will call the first term A1 as the first term of the arithmetic progression, A5. Therefore, by the formula, so A sub n, there is a formula, A sub n equals first term plus n minus 1 times d. So if it is the fifth term, A5 equals A1 plus quantity 5 minus 1 times d, where d is the common difference. Fifth term therefore is A5 plus 4d, and A8 therefore is first term plus 7d. So first term A1, fifth term A1 plus 4d, and eighth term A1 plus 7d are in geometric progression. So because these are in geometric progression, from the property of geometric progression, middle term square, the square of this middle term is the product of these terms, first and third. So quantity A1 plus 4d square equals A1 times quantity A1 plus 7d. So distribute A1 square plus 8 A1d plus 16d square equals A1 square plus 7 A1d. Combine like terms. So 8 minus 7 A1d, cancel out A1 square, equals negative 16d square. So that means A1 is negative 16d after we cancel it. So fifth term therefore is A1, which is equal to negative 16d plus 4d, So the fifth term is negative 12d, and the eighth term is first term negative 16d plus 7d, negative 9d. So R, the common ratio, is equal to A1 plus 4d, which is negative 12d, as to A1, which is negative 16d, equals third term, A1 plus 7d, which is negative 9d, as to this term here, negative 12d. So R equals negative 12d over negative 16d equals negative 9d over negative 12d. So the common ratio R is 3/4. So problem 5, a cask containing 20 liters of wine was emptied of 1/5 of its contents and then filled with water. If this is done 20 times, how many liters of wine will remain in the casks? So we will call the original content AO, initial content, as L, which is 20 liters. So let AO be L, 20 liters. So take note that 1/5 of its contents will be emptied and then filled with water. So that means the first term is L minus 1/5 of L, or if we factor out L, we have first term A1, L times quantity 1 minus 0.2, L times quantity 1 minus 0.2. So for the second term, it would be L, this is the remaining content, then we multiply this by L minus 1.2 again. Or it is L times 1 minus 0.2 minus 1/5 of this. So second term is L times 1 minus 0.2, then minus 1/5 of what has remained, which is this. So if we simplify that, that's L times quantity 1.2 times quantity 1.2, or L times quantity 1 minus 0.2 squared. So we see the pattern. So the formula, therefore, after the 20th drawing and replacement, we have A sub 20, so that L quantity 1 minus 0.2 raised to, this is also 20, same as that subscript there. So A sub 20 is 20 times quantity 1 minus 0.2 to the 20. Take note that L is 20 liters initially. So that the number of liters of wine remaining in the cask is equal to 0.2306 liter. Problem 6. Find the common ratio of an infinite geometric progression in which any term is thrice the sum of the succeeding terms. So that's the condition. Find the common ratio R of an infinite geometric progression in which any term is thrice the sum of the succeeding terms. So that is, if, because any term A sub n, we have a formula for that, is A1 R to the n minus 1, then this is 3 times, the next term would be A1 R to the n, A1 R to the m plus 1, A1 plus A1 R to the n plus 2 plus A1 R to the n. So the succeeding terms will be multiplied by R successfully. So any term is represented by A1 a sub 1 times r to the m minus 1, and it is 3 times the sum of the succeeding terms, thrice the sum of the succeeding terms. The succeeding terms would be these terms, this term times r. So this term times r becomes a1 r to the n. The next term is this term times r, so a1 r to the n plus 1. The next term would be this preceding term times r, so a1 r to the n plus 1, plus the last term would be, so if we continue that, a1 r to the n. So that's the formula, that's the result. And take note that n approaches infinity because this is an infinite geometric progression. Because n approaches infinity, then we simplify this further by multiplying everything by r, So we multiply everything by r, or so this becomes, if we factor out a1 r to the m here, then we also if we factor out a1 r to the n, then this becomes 3 times a sub 1 r to the n, and we rewrite this as a1 r to the m times r to the negative 1, or a1 r to the m over r. So a1 r to the m over r is equal to 3 a1 r to the m. So what remains here is 1, then plus r squared plus dot r to the n. So take note that we factored out a1 r to the n. So, and we also take note that so that's the result in general, because this is infinite geometric progression, so that means the number of terms is infinite. So that's why the last term would have been r to the n. So take note that r to the n, as n approaches infinity and r is less than 1, absolute value of r is less than 1 is 0, so that is 0, and this becomes also 0 because though n is any intermediate term, m would be high, so r to the m will also be approaching 1, that approaches 1. Or we divide everything by r to the m, a1 r to the m, so we can cancel this, cancel that. So this becomes 1 over r, and here we have 3 times quantity. We copy this, copy that. So take note that the sum, these are in infinite geometric progression. 1 times r is r, 1r or r times r is r squared, r cubed, r to the fourth plus r to the n. And take note that the sum of this infinite geometric progression is equal to first term, which is 1, divided by 1 minus r, if you can remember. So 1 over r equals 3 times 1 is equal to 3r times, again we replace the quantities, the terms, the sum of these terms inside that parentheses by the formula for sum of infinite geometric progression, 1 over 1 minus r. So 1 equals 3r, then 1 over 1 minus r. First term 1 over 1 minus r. So cross multiply, 1 minus r equals 3r. So 1 equals 4r, therefore r is 1/4. So next, problem 7, example 7. Find the 8th term in the following series of numbers 6, 7, 11, 20, 36. So we first get the difference between adjacent terms. And notice that, so we have 1, 4, 9, 16. So notice that these are perfect squares. 1 square, 2 square, 3 square, 4 squares. So the next is 5 square or 25. Therefore, the 8th term, this is the 5th term. The 6th term is 36 plus 25. So let's continue the pattern. 6 square, then 49 is 7 square. Then we have the 8th term. So the 8th term therefore is 36 plus 25 plus 36 plus 49. So that's the 8th term. So the 8th term is 146. Sample 8. The sum of the first n terms of a series is given by 3 to the n plus 2 minus k. Find the 5th term of the series. So the sum of the first n terms is equal to first term plus second term plus dot 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 the n term. So that's the sum of the first n terms. So the sum of the first 5 terms therefore is equal to a1 plus a2 plus a3 plus a4 plus a5. So that's the expression for the sum of the first 5 terms. And it is also equal to replacing a1 plus a2 plus a3 plus a4 by s4. So s5 equals s4 plus 5th term. Therefore, the 5th term is s5 minus s4. Because we are given the formula for the sum of the first n terms, s5 is simply using this expression. We replace n by 5 minus s4, same expression, we replace n by 4. So a5 equals quantity 3 to the 5 plus 2 minus k minus 3 to the 4 plus 2 minus k. We cancel out k, and this reduces to 3 to the 7 minus 3 to the 6. 3 to the 7 minus 3 to the 6, that's the 5th term, equals 1,458. So that's it for that problem. Sample 9. Insert 3 harmonic means between 11 and 14. We will call the harmonic means, the 3 harmonic means, as respectively x, y, and z. So we have 11, x, y, z, then 14. These are in harmonic progression. We obtain the reciprocals so that these terms will form arithmetic progression, and we use the formulas in arithmetic progression to solve for x, y, and z. So by principle, because there are 5 terms, and we'll call the common difference of these arithmetic terms as d, common difference, then last term equals first term, 1 over 14 equals first term, 1 over 11, plus n minus 1, 5 minus 1 times common difference. So 1 over 14 equals 1 over 11 plus quantity 5 minus 1 times common difference. So the common difference therefore is equal to negative 3 over 616. So another, by principle, the difference between the second and 1 over 6, 1 over x and 1 over 11 is the common difference, negative 3 over 616. 1 over x minus 1 over 11 equals negative 3 over 616. X therefore is 616 over 53. Expressed in decimal, that's 11.62. Then 1 over y minus 1 over 11 is equal to, so there's a gap of 2, so 2d, because the distance between, because this is the third term and this is the first term. So 1 over y minus 1 over 11 equals 2d, 2 times negative 3 over 616. Solving for y is equal to 308 over 25, that's 12.32 decimal. And lastly, 1 over z minus 1 over 11 is equal to 3 times d. 1 over z minus 1 over 11 equals 3d. 3 times negative 3 over 616. Solving for z is equal to 616 over 47, or 13.11 in decimal form. Then finally, sample 10. An equilateral triangle is inscribed in a circle whose diameter is 12 centimeters. In this triangle, a circle is inscribed, and in this circle, another equilateral triangle is inscribed, and so on indefinitely. Find the sum of the areas of all the triangles. So this is the first equation. We have an equilateral triangle, this equilateral triangle here. Let's denote the sides as x1. Then it is inscribed in a circle. The radius of the circle is 6, as shown, 6, 6. And therefore, if we drop a line perpendicular to the side, this one, because the interior angles of an equilateral triangle is 60 degrees, and this radius will bisect that angle. So this is 30 degrees, so we have a right triangle here. And therefore, this is just half of the side of the equilateral triangle, x1 over 2. And in this right triangle, x1 over 2 equals hypotenuse 6, the radius of the circle, times cosine of 30. So x1 over 2 equals 6 cosine of 30 degrees. Solving for x1 is 6 square root of 3 centimeters. The area of a triangle is 1/2 product of adjacent sides, x1 and x1, sine of 60 degrees. Or if you can memorize the formula, square root of 3 over 4 side square for an equilateral triangle only. But for any triangle, the area is 1/2 product of adjacent sides, 1/2 product of adjacent sides, x1 square, sine of the angle between them. So that's why area 1 is 27 square root of 3 square centimeters, and we will call this A1 because we are asked for the sum of all areas of all possible triangles that can be formed if we continue that process. So for the next triangle, although smaller in figure supposedly, which is now this, I'll just have the same size, but the idea is the same. So I'll call this radius as R2, radius of the circle here, which is now this circle here, but I just enlarge so that you can still follow the solution. So R sub 2 is from this right triangle, hypotenuse sine of 30. R sub 2 is 6 sine 30, so it is 3 centimeters. So again, let's transfer to this figure. We will call the dimension of the equilateral triangle inscribed in this circle, small circle, which I draw here the same circle, but the radius is 3. The radius is 3. This is now the equilateral triangle inscribed in this smaller circle here. And I denote the dimensions this time as x2. Radius is 3, same angle 30 degrees, 60 degrees, r3. This is x2 over 2. So x2 over 2 equals hypotenuse 3 cosine 30. So it is 3 square root of 3 centimeters. Area 2, therefore, area of this triangle, or the triangle inscribed in this smaller circle here, is 1/2 product of adjacent sides square. So equal adjacent sides x2 and x2. So 3 square root of 3 quantity square sine of 60 degrees. So it is 27 square root of 3 over 4 square centimeters. We'll call then a sub 2 the second term. Then r sub 3, which is this circle here, which is now the circle here, is 3 hypotenuse sine 30, and that is 1.5 cm. Then let's transfer to this figure the side of the equilateral triangle supposedly inscribed in this small circle here is x3. So x3 over 2 equals 1.5 cosine 30. x3 is 3 square root of 3 over 2 cm. Area 3 therefore is 1/2 x3 square, 1/2 x3 square sine of 60 degrees. So 27 square root of 3 over 16 centimeters square. We'll call that A3, and let's obtain the ratio of A3 to A2 if it forms common ratio, and A2 against A1. So A3, 27 square root of 3 over 16 as to A sub 2, 27 square root of 3 over 4 equals A sub 2, 27 square root of 3 over 4 as to A1 first term, 27 square root of 3. So it forms a common ratio R, which is 1/4. Therefore, when you experience the same problem, you don't need to proceed to the third. You just consider first two terms, and you can conclude that the terms, the areas, are in infinite geometric progression. So sum of areas, area total of all possible equilateral triangles, would be first term over 1 minus r. Remember formula for sum of infinite geometric progression. The first term is this area here, 27 square root of 3 divided by 1 minus common ratio 1/4. So exactly 36 square root of 3 square centimeters, approximately in decimal form 62.35 square centimeters. So that's it for this video.